Republicans have won the majority, even though the Democrats have cheated at gerrymandering for the last 10 years at this. Now they don't even believe in the Constitution. It's only whatever is according to the best interest of them. When are we going to start looking at the voters themselves and let them decide who represents them?
The former attempted Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, talking about the Democrats cheating their way through gerrymandering. I've been talking about it. But good for Kev. He said it pretty well, too. Not bad for him. Yes, sir. Boy, we've got news breaking all over the place. 4 minutes ago from the great people at the New York Post. Not the New York Times, not the Washington Post, but the New York Post. The headline is Trump's massive $500 million civil fraud fine in Attorney General Tish James' case thrown out by New York Appeals Court. You know, this Letitia James, communist, leftist, Trump-hating, Trump derangement syndrome, power-abusing Democrat, the chief law enforcement officer in the state of New York. But now, a New York Appeals Court Thursday, that's today, threw out the massive $464 million judgment dealt to President Trump after he was found liable at a civil trial for business fraud. The appellate division, First Department, overturned the whopping fine in the case in which Trump was found to have fraudulently inflated his net worth by billions of dollars over a decade to get better loan and insurance terms. Trump would have had to pay a total of more than $500 million, including more than $100 million in interest, had the February 2024 ruling from Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron been upheld. Remember this Engoron guy, another Trump-hating, diseased person? He's the one who said that Mar-a-Lago was worth $19 million, right? You know, Brett Baer's house in Washington sold for $22 million. And I'm sorry, not even close to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, going from the Mar, the sea, the ocean, to the lago, you know, the lagoon, both sides of the peninsula there in Palm Beach, Florida. But never mind that. The appeals court decision follows a theatric 11-week trial that threatened to derail Trump's image as a real estate tycoon and brand him a fraudster as he campaigned to regain the White House. And the Democrats ambushed him. The Democrats set him up. The Democrats lied about this. The Democrats lied about his real estate, the value of his real estate holdings. And Judge Arthur Engoron, who, his daughter was a Democrat Party activist. He was a Democrat Party activist as judge. Now, again, Mar-a-Lago, according to real estate people down there, probably worth $400 million to $500 million, kind of a valuable estate, historic estate. The parking lot there is worth more than $19 million, that Judge Engoron said. So they accused him of fraudulently misrepresenting the value of his real estate, including Mar-a-Lago. And the first thing they did was go ahead and fraudulently misrepresent the value of his real estate in Mar-a-Lago. No sense of irony, these people. Now, was this the trial where the guy self-immolated out front, Michael? This was one of the New York trials. But the Democrats, being the communists that they are, they tried to lynch him for all kinds of reasons. Now, I think that was the trial where the Democrat, came and drenched himself in gasoline and set himself in fire outside the courthouse and killed himself because Democrats, you know. So at trial, the evidence revealed that Trump secured cushy interest rates between 2011 and 2021 after goosing up the value of assets like his Big Apple penthouse and Mar-a-Lago estate on financial papers, right? That's what they claimed, at least. Trump's business falsely claimed that his Trump Tower triplex was 30,000 square feet rather than its true size of 11,000 square feet, and but he owned the building and he built the building, and the size of his multi-floor private condominium, his personal home aside, used the phony figures to pump up the pad's value to $327 million in 2015 after claiming it was worth $80 million just 4 years earlier, evidence showed. Well, it's New York real estate, Trump also valued Mar-a-Lago at $517 million on a financial filing, despite his own tax broker admitting to listing the palatial estate's market value at just $27 million in 2020. That sounds like a lowball on that one. Rush Limbaugh's estate there was more than $100 million. So none of that makes any sense. But never mind that. Trump's tax representative, Michael Corabachero, testified that he used lowball valuation, which is far below the estate's value if it were sold as a private home, by calling the estate a social club, a distinction that scored Trump juicy tax breaks. Well, and I don't think Trump's up late at night with a green visor and a pencil in his hand. I think he's got firms doing his taxes for him, don't you think? That's my thing. The deed for Mar-a-Lago bars Trump from selling the estate as anything but a social club, trial evidence showed. Now, this is just madness. In any event, the courts overturned it today. Trump nonetheless told banks and insurers that the Palm Beach estate was worth $517 million and boasted during the trial that it was actually worth up to $1.5 billion. If somebody will pay that for it, then that's how much it's worth, which would make it 4 times more valuable than the most expensive private home listed in the country. It might be the most expensive home in the country. It might actually be. The frauds found here leap off the page and shock the conscience, Judge Arthur Engoron wrote in his ruling. The ruling comes after some members of the 5-judge appeals panel appeared skeptical in September. Now, the thing is that the massive $500 million civil fraud fine that Democrat Attorney General, Trump-hating Tish James, now the case has been thrown out by the New York Appeals Court. So that is kind of a big deal, I've got to say. Kind of a big deal. And there's another wacky story, and I'm surprised the New York Post piece is kind of going through what the Democrats were saying at trial, the trial whose verdict has now been overturned. The decision has now been overturned. So isn't that amazing? Trump has posted a bond of $175 million as he appeals the ruling, and will get the chance to further challenge it next in New York State's highest appeals court, the New York State Court of Appeals. So it continues because lawfare never ends. But Trump's $500 million civil fraud penalty has been tossed by the courts in New York. And the Democrats are going to be very angry about that. Speaking of Democrats, this is wild. Voodoo sex spells. The Democrats are the party of voodoo and all that. The Baltimore Sun has the story, voodoo sex spells, gambling binges, luxury gifts fuel $900,000 fraud probe into ex-Maryland PTA president. The PTA, the Parent-Teacher Association. Aren't these people amazing? And the Fox News Baltimore, the Baltimore Sun has the story, voodoo sex spells, gambling binges, luxury gifts fuel $900 million fraud probe. Democrats everywhere you look. WBFF is the station. Federal officials are investigating a former Maryland PTA president for allegedly embezzling over $900,000 to live a lavish coast-to-coast lifestyle that included luxury trips, gambling benders, and voodoo sex spells, including a curse to break up the marriage of her alleged lover. Sure, it's the PTA, and you got to have the voodoo thing in there. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland opened a criminal case against Latanja Carrera, 51 years old, who served as state PTA president from November of 2020 until October of 2022. According to D.C. attorney and former federal prosecutor Seth Waxman, the state organization oversaw about 800 local PTA chapters and 130,000 volunteer members. The investigation is looking at Carrera's unauthorized spending of PTA funds from May of 2020 through October of 2022, Waxman said. Waxman said federal investigators asked him last month to provide documents from a forensic audit he ordered as a court-appointed receiver of the Maryland PTA in 2022. Now, this is pretty crazy stuff, but the voodoo is maybe the best part because, you know, the Democrats are and their relationship with Satan, because who do they love most? Satan. That's who they love. Just amazing stuff. Waxman's complaint joined a 2021 national PTA lawsuit against Carrera, the state PTA board, and the newly formed Alliance for Maryland Parents, Teachers, and Students, run by Democrats. In May of 2020, the national office put the state PTA on probation over significant leadership issues. It revoked its charter in March of 2021 for failing to comply with bylaws and national PTA standards. But the best part, of course, is the voodoo, because you're traveling, you're going on gambling trips, but the voodoo sex spells, including paying money, PTA money, to put a voodoo curse on the wife of the man that she's boinking in order to break up their marriage so she could have the man all to herself, because voodoo is definitely the way to go there. You do that voodoo that you do so well. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Voodoo sex spells, because your Democrat Party is, it's a Satan party. They love Satan. All right, shall we grab a telephone call? Let's go to the phones, and let's go to Randy calling from Lexington, Kentucky. Randy, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Randy.
I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's an investigation going on here in Kentucky where they're looking at least 2,000 driver's licenses being issued to illegals. Not sure how many may be commercial, if any, but if you know that our governor here is a leftist, Beshear, which has aspirations of running for president next time.
Uh-huh. And the more crooked they are, they figure the more crooked they are, the better their standing will be in the Democratic Party.
Thankfully here, this is I hate to say the red state, but we have a super majority in the House that can override his vetoes when he throws something stupid out.
Well, here's the story. Nearly 2,000 Kentucky driver's licenses revoked amid fraud investigation from LEX 18 6 days ago. And now WCHS, the headline is, alleged scheme to sell Kentucky driver's licenses to illegal immigrants under investigation. And, Beshear, the Democrats, the Kentucky Division of Motor Vehicles is under investigation after a whistleblower told the Louisville Fox affiliate DMV workers were selling driver's licenses to illegal immigrants for $200 each. And that then they can vote, too, can't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Until recently, we have 120 counties here. So you could go do driver license business at any county, but over the last couple of years, they've condensed that down to like 30 places over the whole state that you have to go to, which has been a complete nightmare. Some people having to travel 2 hours away to get a driver's license.
Because they're too busy helping out illegal aliens because they're Democrats and they want more crime and more death and more murder because they're the left. And the whistleblower claims these schemes happen 4 to 5 times a day for 2 years at multiple sites across the state, selling the illegal aliens driver's licenses for $200. And Democrat Governor Andy Beshear read a prepared statement on it. Now he's got to wag his finger at it because the damage has been done. Democrats, Randy. What can we say about Democrats? What are we going to do about them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Randy. That's a big story, and I had not been tracking it, and I thank you for drawing my attention to it. Another amazing Democrat story. You know, the big wireless companies are pulling one over on all of us every day, every month. It's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I did. I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage, same towers and everything without the big wireless money involved. But it's not just about saving money. Of course, that helps. It's about not being used and abused by the big cell phone companies. Do you even have any idea how much data you use every month? Probably not. I certainly don't. Most people aged 50 and over use less than 8 gigs of data in a month. But the big wireless companies, they shove everybody into an unlimited plan and charge you up the yin-yang because they need you to cover the cost of 19-year-olds that are using 10 times as much data as you're using, and they can't charge them for it. So if you're not using all this data, and you're probably not, you are the one being used. Had enough of that? Go with Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone and ready to use and no time at all. Make the switch. All you have to do is give them a call, talk to an actual human being who's based right here in the United States, not a robot on a space platform, an actual helpful human being that you speak to in the United States. Only takes about 20 minutes to make the switch. Then you're saving money every month and you're happier than ever. Give them a call today and make the change. 1-800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Those rascally Democrats. Yes, sir. But I'm not done with them yet because there's more. And what else have we got? Texas and redistricting. The Democrats are really upset about this because, that's what they do all the time. The Babylon Bee has a great story and headline today. California issues commercial driver's license to Stevie Wonder. And there's Stevie Wonder behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler truck because the people at the Babylon Bee are funny. Also, I don't know if you were tracking this, but yesterday, the roadside restaurant Cracker Barrel, which is always our favorite place to stop. We're on road trips. And Cracker Barrel changed their logo. They changed their logo of a guy sitting here with a Cracker Barrel. That's a wooden barrel full of crackers. And their Cracker Barrel logo, they changed it, and it looks like a 5th grade classroom of children put together the new logo. Cracker Barrel, and they got rid of the guy next to the barrel because he's the cracker, I guess, so they got rid of him. And I've got an update on this. And the lady who's the CEO, she was on television telling, I think, untruths about it. But let me straighten that out for you coming up. All right, so I was talking about Cracker Barrel, which has got nothing to do with Democrats on plantations cracking bullwhips, which is, of course, where the term cracker comes from. But Cracker Barrel changed their logo. The thing is, they didn't change their name. They're still Cracker Barrel, but they did away with their logo with the guy sitting on a chair like he's on a front porch with his elbow on a big wooden barrel. And the Cracker Barrel, the soups and things, the old days, they'd ship crackers and it'd keep them from all smashing. You put them in a wooden barrel. So Cracker Barrel. But they've announced that yesterday that they were rebranding and they dumped their old logo and came up with a new logo that is much less interesting and pretty dumb. And it's like, well, why'd you even do that when you look at it? You've made it less interesting. It's less good. And my friend Marty actually texted me this yesterday afternoon, the logo change. And my best girl and I, we started looking at it and said, well, wait, what does this change? Why did they do this? Never mind any of that. But the lady who is the CEO of Cracker Barrel was on the television this morning, ABC Good Morning America, talking to Michael Strahan. And she think, oh, yeah, everybody. Now, online, everybody's like, what'd you do this for? It's the dumbest logo change anybody's ever seen. And she went on this morning to say, oh, everybody loves it because I lie all the time.
What if all the customers are coming at you hard enough about the look of the restaurant and they want to go back to the old way? Would you do it?
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members.
Sure. That's not only from our customers. And did you hear the little girl giggle at the top of the thing? Hee hee, hee hee. Honestly, somebody called the teacher, the Cracker Barrel CEO. She's the cracker in the story here. Her name is Massino, Julie Massino, and she has, what's her name? Fells is apparently a maiden name or middle name she uses or something. Cracker Barrel CEO, Julie Fells Massino, and she's, oh, everybody loves it, hee hee.
When they want to go back to the old way, would you do it?
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive.
Overwhelmingly positive is what she says. And I've got an update for you on this because she is a Democrat, apparently, and pretty amazing stuff. There are already mock logos out there of, they've got the logo with the guy with his elbow on the barrel, but they put Hunter Biden's head on it. And it's Crack Barrel. See, it becomes Crack Barrel because, and then the barrel's overflowing with a white powdery substance. But what she said there this morning on ABC, Good Morning America, just being lied to everywhere you go because the news media, Cracker Barrel stock is down this morning over 12%, having shed over $7 per share. And it's noted here, Jack Posobiec, well, this is actually Brick Suit, and Jack Posobiec is also posting it. But it's almost like getting rid of what patrons like about your company is a bad idea. Huh. That is crazy talk, isn't it? Bad idea. And the stock, what was at $50-something, but it's lost $7 a share today, down 12%. It's got a red line with an arrow going down. And it's dropping because liberal Democrats who want to politically correct everything destroy everything they touch. And for the most part, they don't understand what it is that they're doing. Hey, maybe have a nice bottle of Bud Light with a tranny on it while you're enjoying your Cracker Barrel. Just amazing stuff. So the CEO may end up being fired for her great idea. Also, I looked up, speaking of which, what's her name? Alyssa Heinerscheid, the vice president at Anheuser-Busch, that decided that bottles of Bud Light were not for frat boys anymore, and they lost billions of dollars. She was hired in no time at all by Live Golf, the Saudi Arabian, I think it's Saudi Arabian-led, isn't it? Live Golf, the professional golf circuit, Live Golf. They hired her because, why not?
Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out-of-touch humor, and it was really important that we had another approach.
Harvard's Alyssa Heinerscheid, let's destroy Bud Light. And then she did it. And then she was fired. And then she was hired again by the Arabs who run a golf outfit. And they hired her because, there are Democrats even in Saudi Arabia. Aren't they amazing? Man, oh, man, oh, man. These guys. And what's that? I'm sorry, Engoron is not the judge whose daughter was the fundraising Democrat. Is that right? It was Judge Merchan. Is that could be the there are so many Democrats and so many crooked judges and so many Trump trials. But is it the one where the Democrats self-immolated outside the courthouse? I still want to know that. All right, let's go to so much more news, so many more wild stories. The Republicans in Texas, and this is kind of fun, Texas House passes one big, beautiful congressional redistricting map. And the Democrats are losing their minds about that because they've been redistricting states across the country for decades now. In fact, in January of 2021, was it January of 2021? The Democrats, they picked Eric Holder to lead their nationwide redistricting. No, I'm sorry, it was 2017. It was 2017, January of 2017. The Democrats picked Eric H. Holder Jr., the former attorney general at that point, who was Barack Obama's wingman, and that's good when you're a Democrat and the attorney general is your wingman, right? Great stuff. And they picked him 2017 to redistrict everything. That's when Hillary Clinton lost. Donald Trump was about to become president of the United States. It was hilarious. And the Democrats said, we're going to have to redistrict every state that we can redistrict across the United States. And they picked their chief law enforcement officer, Eric Holder, to do that. And now if Texas says, we're years behind the curve here, but I think we're going to do the same thing. Now the Democrats are ready to fire on Fort Sumter because they love civil war and they don't love civil discourse. Texas House passes one big, beautiful congressional redistricting map. The House of Representatives in Texas, their efforts to approve a mid-census congressional redistricting map, cleared an important hurdle with the passage of the bill's initial reading on Wednesday afternoon. The resolution was approved along party lines, as you might expect, after 5 hours of debate, which the Democrats tried to deflect and prevent by leaving the state and going to hang out with the billionaire in Illinois and all that. Final passage by the House is expected later on Wednesday. Now it actually happened. That was the piece from Breitbart, and now it has happened and it has to go to the state Senate. So the Texas Republican redistricting map passes the House 88-52 after a long debate, many hours of debate that the Democrats tried to prevent. And if we only had a news media in this country, they would report, as I do, what the Democrats have been doing for years. And I got to tell you, President Trump on Truth Social wrote, "Big win for the great state of Texas. Everything passed on our way to 5 more congressional seats and saving your rights, your freedoms, and your country itself. Texas never lets us down. Florida, Indiana, and others are looking to do the same thing. More seats equals less crime, a great economy, and a strong Second Amendment. It means happiness and peace. But Republicans, there's one thing even better: stop mail-in voting. Total fraud that has no bounds. Also, go to paper ballots before it's too late. At 1/10 the cost, faster and more reliable. If we do these 2 things, we will pick up 100 more seats, and the crooked game of politics is over. God bless America." Now, I've got to say, I'm in favor of having, I don't normally say we should do it the way France does it. But France figured it out. They banned in 1975, they banned mail-in ballots because they detected a great deal of corruption, particularly in the island jurisdiction of Corsica, where mail-in ballots were being abused. And in France, they decided to go with elections, the way elections should be done. You have election day, not election month or a 3-month election season where the Democrats can mail out ballots to, dead people and engage in ballot harvesting and ballot box stuffing, which they've been doing all along, and they love doing, and they've been gerrymandering the hell out of state after state. Who was it? I think it was Jeffrey Toobin. No, it wasn't Jeffrey Toobin. Who was it? I'll think of it in a second. Talking about, how about New York? The governor there, the Democrat governor, Kathy Hochul, said, well, we're going to gerrymander New York. And the legal expert was laughing out loud, literally laughing out loud, saying, I'm sorry, it was Jonathan Turley. That's who it was, Professor Jonathan Turley, who's no slouch. And he's talking about New York, how they've already gerrymandered the hell out of absolutely everything and in New York, and you couldn't gerrymander it anymore if you held a gun to your own head and said gerrymander it more, because they've been gerrymandering the hell out of California and New York and Maryland And the list goes on and on of gerrymandered states, and the Democrats are threatening to gerrymander them further. And Jonathan Turley literally laughed out loud, said you couldn't possibly gerrymander them any more than the Democrats already have. And the news media should be talking about that. Now, Jonathan Turley was talking about it, and he's a smart guy. So you can take it. He does math, too, unlike so many Democrats. But aren't they amazing? And in Texas, the Democrats are getting a little taste of their own medicine, which is how it ought to be reported everywhere you look. But never mind that. And in California, where the Democrats have already gerrymandered the hell out of it. And again, when Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor there, he cut a deal with the Democrats there, and they agreed that they would only engage in bipartisan redistricting in the future. Now Gavin Newsom is saying, to hell with that. We're not doing that. And we're going to gerrymander the hell out of the state of California and squeeze more seats for Democrats out of it, right? And now Barack Hussein Obama, no fan of the United States of America, Barack Obama supports Gavin Newsom's gerrymandering plan. So now Obama's in it. And that's why, in 2017, when Trump won and Hillary lost, they appointed his wingman, the chief law enforcement officer of the United States under Barack Obama, Eric H. Holder Jr., as the New York Times calls him, out of reverence. They appointed him to take over the Democrats' nationwide effort to redistrict state after state. These people lie like psychopaths all the time. Former President Barack Obama supports Democrat California Governor Gavin Newsom's gerrymandering plan in opposition to Republicans in Texas. As Breitbart reported, Newsom's proposed gerrymandering of California will eliminate at least 4 of 9 Republican-held districts in the deep blue state. Currently, Republicans hold only 9 of California's 52 congressional seats. That's 17%. Under the new map that the governor wants, the Democrat wants to present to voters in a special election in November, Republicans will hold 5 seats, just under 10%. But nearly 40% of California voters chose Republican candidates in the 2024 election. So they've got 40% of the vote in California, Republicans do. But it's already been gerrymandered to the point where Republicans get only 17% of House seats going to Republicans. Out of 52, they get 17%, but they have 40% of the vote. So the Democrats have already squeezed it, right? And now they want more. Because as I've been saying for years, when you give the left everything they want, what do they want then? The answer is more. They want more. That's what they want. Man, oh man. And I'm telling you, they'll just squeeze, they'll steal everything they can steal. Yes, sir. And I talked about it yesterday, the New York Times, the Democrat Party faces a voter registration crisis. They're losing voters by the millions across the country. And they've got their left-wing advocates like Molly Jung, who goes by Jung Fast, Molly Jung Fast. Democrats need to be more radical. They need to be more communistic. That's on Morning Joke this morning. They need more Mamdanis. And Morning Joke, they're applauding that because they need to become more radical. That's where the Democrat Party is going. And you see Gavin Newsom dressing up. They think it's very funny. He put gauze on his right ear with tape over it, just as President Trump did after he was shot by a would-be assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania. And they're posting pictures of Gavin Newsom with the gauze on his right ear, making fun, smiling, and it's a big joke about Trump being shot by a man with a rifle, a would-be assassin. And they're funning it up, shooting each other. Remember, they're the party of the first American Civil War. They're the party that's shooting everybody. And now they're having fun with it, making fun of it. I love the Democrats love the word distraction. They don't know what it means. We got a D.C. councilwoman today saying looking into the D.C. Police Department corrupting the crime stats is a distraction. It's a distraction. Then she shot someone, which was kind of weird. I thought that was odd. Just crazy. Your Democrat Party. Now, I took a picture of my dashboard yesterday when I was driving down to Newsmax. I was driving downtown, go do that, and here's why. Because I bought my car new. I bought it new from a local dealership on December 31st of 2015. That is 9 years and 8 months ago. Is that right? 9 years and 8 months ago. 9 years and 8 months ago, I bought it new, and it had whatever, new, a couple hundred miles on it or something. Yesterday, driving into work, I crossed 22,000 miles. I bought the car new 9 years and 8 months ago, so coming up on 10 years ago, and I crossed 22,000 miles on my odometer yesterday. It's called an odometer. Might be next to your speedometer, and it counts the miles. And I took a picture of it because my phone, thanks to the patriarchy, has a camera in it. Can you believe that? And you can take pictures, and you can send them to people and stuff. 22,000 miles. And it was 82 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm looking at the picture now. And, driving at 22,000 miles, 9 years, 8 months. How's my carbon footprint? That's what I want to know. Because I think it's a lot smaller than just about anybody else's carbon footprint. That's for sure. And I've got lots and lots of stuff to talk about already for tomorrow. The IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, began a criminal probe into the Clinton Foundation in 2019 for laundering their money and stuff, but then suddenly stopped because Joe Biden and crooked Democrats and the crooked Department of Justice and the crooked FBI and the crooked IRS, they targeted Tea Party groups and patriot groups, the IRS did. But when it comes to the Clinton Foundation, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and how much money from Russia and what are they doing with it all? Well, that investigation was dropped because the Clinton family's tentacles, they run deep in Washington.